You know what we talk about today's episode? A lot, but I think today's episode is probably one of the best ones I've ever recorded because it's about guaranteeing that you win. Because winning is a choice and so is losing. And here's the truth. Your wins can be scheduled and your success guaranteed if you put into practice what I shared in this episode. Plus, I give you an update on where I've been, what's been going on, and how what I shared in this episode helped me thrive and succeed through some of the toughest weeks of my life. And so I love you. I'm not going to give you any more because this episode is fire, and I have a really amazing ask of you at the end that will help you win. So I'm going to let you go listen now. It's time to cue the intro and enjoy the episode. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Mind of George Show. And boy, am I excited to record this. Sad, happy, emotional, anxious, in momentum, driven, and I'm going to explain it all to you. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about winning. Winning. And this is something that hits near and dear to my heart and something I am in the middle of right now, is having a relationship with winning. So here's what I got to say to you. I have learned now through 21 years of coaching and leadership and leading myself primarily, and actually, quite frankly, leading you and other people better than I've led myself in the past, that winning comes down to choosing. And so we can either choose to win or we can choose to lose. And in the last couple of weeks, I've been through some extremely challenging situations, and this whole year in general has quite frankly been the most challenging year of my life. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but I'm also going to give you some tools and tangible things to celebrate and to do to make sure that you win. Okay? So I have a quote. Now, I have a massive book recommendation for you. I've listened to this book 3 or 4 times in the last month, and the book is called Winning by Tim Grover. Winning by Tim Grover. And Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's coach and Kobe Bryant's coach and a lot of other stuff there. And I absolutely love it. I love the concept of it, the way that it breaks it down. I love it. And so I'm going to read you a quote from Tim Grover, which I feel like exemplifies entrepreneurs. It speaks to perfectly who entrepreneurs are. Okay, here's the quote. Winning makes you different, and that difference is going to scare people. People are not going to understand your work ethic. They're not going to understand why you do the things you do at the intensity that you do it, and why you continue to want more and more and more. And I absolutely love that. One of the things that I've done for years is I've turned myself down or turned my volume knob down or created justifications for why I was a certain way or being obsessed about a certain way. And it's quite frankly, in my opinion, taken me 21 years to get to a point of self-acceptance, self-awareness, and self-confidence to where I can win and not allow my winning to affect or hurt other people, but also to really own my choices, own my decisions, and pursue them regardless of what the outside world says. And so when I say you can choose to win or you can choose to lose, this is something that I have figured out over the years because success can be scheduled. Winning is not stepping up to the plate in one game, hitting a home run and being like, I won. Winning is not walking onto a field, winning a championship, and then walking away. Winning is not closing your biggest deal and then stopping everything else that got you there. Winning comes as a culmination of the choices that you make daily and the inputs that you put in. And so I'm going to give you the tangibles and an overview on how to make sure that you are winning. But to be congruent to what I teach and what I do, I'm going to do the most uncomfortable thing I do, which is read reviews of this podcast on the show so I can squirm in my spot and get uncomfortable, but let all the love in and all of it tattoo my soul. And so if you have not left a review for this show, it means the world to me. We are at 195 reviews. My goal by the end of 2021 is to get to 1,000 reviews. And I'm going to say it. I pour my heart and soul into this podcast for free. I spend hours a day researching, outlining, getting guests, and coming on this show. And there are a lot more than you than 195. Trust me, a lot. Like a massive multiplied amount. And so my ask of you is, if you have not reviewed this show, could you please go to your favorite platform, iTunes or wherever, and leave me a review. It means the world to me. I read them all, and I will read them on the show. So what do we got today? We got This Podcast is Legit by I Am the Real James Allen. George has taught me more about business than anyone else just through this podcast. I love how short and concise the episodes are. It's a must listen. Then I have a review from the Mr. Joe Graham, who I had the pleasure of meeting in Montana. Practical tools over flashy fluff. I met George at a mastermind in Whitefish, Montana in mid-May through a friend of mine named Marshall. I started listening to the podcast and it blew my mind. George doesn't give you super secrets to success that don't work. He gives you practical tools that you can use to move your dream and vision forward, which is very rare in this space. And one more, just because I'm in it today, from Mal Foxley. Great show. George, host of the Mind of George podcast, highlights all aspects of connecting with customers and more in this can't miss podcast. The host and expert guests offer insightful advice and information that is helpful to anyone who listens. So for those of you that left me a review, thank you so much. I appreciate you immensely. I talk to most of you online. It means the world to me. If you have not left me a review, leave me a review. So let's talk about winning. I now know that success can be scheduled. I have been coached and worked with by some of the greatest coaches in the world, i.e. one of my teachers, Coach Lance Armstrong and Tiger Woods. Another one of my teachers coaches, Phil Mickelson, and professional golfers. Another one of my teachers coaches every professional poker player, World Series of Poker champion, and UFC fighters. Like, I'm surrounded by the best teachers in the world. And they all share one thing in common. Success can be scheduled, and it's not the glitz and the glam. It's not the roller coaster. It's the monotonous, boring things that move the needle every single day when we choose to do them. And so let me tell you a story about how this applies. So my current situation is today, I'm recording this, is July 8th. I think you're listening to it a couple days later because I don't like to batch content because I want it to be relative. Just for the record, me and Angie are very similar. And in the last couple of weeks, I have had a woman who raised me, my grandmother, dear grandmother of mine, go from being healthy and functional to on hospice with heart failure. And so I just got back from Boston, spending the last days that I could with my grandmother. And that was an emotional rock, going back to my home, going back to where I grew up. And now even 30 years later, going back to face some of the trauma and some of the things and see some things that I quite frankly avoid because I only go back like every 4 years. So I go back and really face a lot of it while being supportive of family and my grandmother. And so I spent 5 days there on the road in hotels dealing with hospice and workers. And then in the midst of it, we had an amazing moment, which helped. My grandmother loves horses. My wife loves horses. And we had a baby horse born that we've been waiting for 2 years because we had some stuff happened. The first one didn't make it. And so we had this baby horse and I celebrated that. And then 3 hours later, I got a text message and a phone call with my wife in tears because the mother horse prolapsed her uterus and bled out. And so then we had a baby orphaned horse that was 1 hour old with no mother and no way to eat except being bottle fed. So then my wife did that while I was 3,000 miles away and handled all of that and had to do all of that. And then that led to another thing, and then there was some business stuff that fell out. There was some stuff that came to light that I wasn't aware of, and there's a couple other more personal family situations that have all happened in the last 2 weeks that I have not been able to, or I can't share about out of respect. And so that's been in the last 2 to 3 weeks, and it's been hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It's been hard. But one of the things that I teach in my mastermind and to all my private clients and all my students is what I call my sacred lightkeeper quadrants. And these are basically the regardless of how you feel, these are the non-negotiables that you commit to doing every single day. And I will tell you that for the last 3 weeks, today is my first day in my office. Today is the first day I've been in my office because I haven't been able to come. And so I made a rule with myself that no matter what, no matter how I felt, no matter what was going on, I was going to do those things every single day. Now, I am 16 weeks into a new training program and a nutrition program, changing my body type and what is important to me. And through like literally one of the hardest points of my life where I used to emotionally eat and I struggled with eating disorders and I struggled with addiction, I flew across the country, supported my family, flew back here, supported my family, supported my business, supported the people close to me, and I supported myself. I did not miss a workout. I did not miss my reading. I did not miss my nutrition, and I protected my success and I protected my wins through the choices that I made every single day, regardless of how I felt. And I'm standing here now, and quite frankly, I was shocked this morning. I got on a scale, and I'm not trying to really lose weight, but I am literally perfectly on track, even through some of the most stressful times, to hit my goals. And I didn't go to any vice, any distraction, or anything because I chose to continue to protect the things that would allow me to win in the long term and avoid the things that would create a loss because I reacted in the short term. And so it's super, super applicable. So there are four ways that I wrote that I think you, I, and everybody else can benefit and win, where you can find wins, where you can create wins, and how you can ensure that you win. And I'm going to go over the four of them right now. Number one is you need to find and create wins. Number two is you need to celebrate your wins daily. Number three is you need to be in momentum. And number four, you have to realize that every day is a new game. And so number one, you have to find and create wins. And why did I write find? Because there are plenty of days where my brain, my body, my soul, my life is like, you're losing. I'm a martyr to myself. I can't find the positive. And there are days that I have to remind myself that it's a win that I took a breath today. But our job is to find wins. Our job is to find and create them, and we must do it every single day. No one's coming to save us. Nobody's coming to save my business. Nobody's going to save my grandmother. Nobody's showing up to fix the things that are broken. No one's going to magically come in with some magic pill or Band-Aid and be like, I know it's hard, George. I know you wanted to win the game. I know you lost, but you know what? We're just going to give you the trophy. No, I have to find it. And you cannot create a positive result from a negative mindset. And so finding a win changes the chemistry of your brain to start seeing the positive and create momentum. And so your job every single day is to either find or create your win. And I don't care how big or how small. Your job is to find it or create it. And even on those days where you're like, there isn't one, I can't find one, find it. And I will tell you right now that on those days, your decision to pursue the win, to find the win, is the difference maker in the long-term success of you achieving what you want. There is always, and I mean always, something to be grateful for, always something to find, always something to celebrate, always. And your job every single day, non-negotiably, is to find or create your wins. And you must find them and you must create them. And here's the thing, every day. Not when I feel like it, not only when it's up, not when I feel like posting that win. No, every day. Hear me. Every day. Winning is a choice and so is losing. If you choose not to find and celebrate a win, if you choose not to find or create a win, you are choosing not to win. Your job every single day is to find or create a win. That's number one. Number two, and you better be writing these down. Number two, you need to celebrate your wins daily. Daily. And I mean celebrate them. Not diminish them, not discount them, not discredit them, not to be like, oh, I just had the best day in my business, and then your brain goes to, oh, but you could have done better. No, shut that shit up. Celebrate it. Allow it to land. Allow it to marinate. Allow the wind to tattoo your soul or to fill your gas tank. If you tell me that your job is to work out every day and you didn't feel like it and it was hard and you didn't sleep and you go for a 10-minute walk, I would celebrate that 10-minute walk with you like you just won an Olympic gold medal because you chose to do it. And you cannot minimize your choices and minimize the things that you do and expect positive results. Celebrate that you put your shoes on. Celebrate that you brushed your teeth. Celebrate that you drank water. Celebrate that you had a healthy meal. Celebrate that you chose to put the phone down, that you chose to stop scrolling Instagram. Celebrate it, and celebrate it publicly. Be willing to be seen in your wins. Be willing to be seen, no matter how small or how big they are, and celebrate your wins for you, but let the world see them. It will hold you accountable. It will reinforce the positive behavior that you took. You need to celebrate them every single day. Every day. You should be celebrating thousands of them, but find it and celebrate it. Celebrate it in your journal in the morning or at night. Celebrate it with a post online and a story. Celebrate it with your friends, but you can't celebrate it alone and allow yourself to be the martyr. Because here's the thing. When you win, you're super vulnerable. And when you share your win, you're even more vulnerable. Because then you get to sit there and receive the love, receive the praise, receive all of it. And that cements in your momentum to keep winning. So number 2 is you need to celebrate your wins daily. I need a sip of coffee because I'm fired up today. Apparently I missed the office. Celebrate your wins daily. Celebrate them publicly, call it out to the world, and make it a non-negotiable. Like I said, we have people in our mastermind that come in and within 3 months, they 10x, 20x, or 50x their business by working less, doing less, and not adding one strategy or tactic. It happens. Ask them. Come, watch. It just happened at our event. People come in and they're like, oh, and I'm like, no, I'm not selling you the wrapping paper. I'm not giving you the glitz and the glam. I was like, you have 2 options. You can choose to play a shallow game that everybody celebrates on social media and lies, or you can play the non-glamorous game that guarantees your win. And they're like, I want to play the non-glamorous game. I'm like, cool, let's play. Because the ones that want the glitz and the glam, they don't typically stick around with me long. You need to celebrate your wins daily. This is a non-negotiable. We require this for our students, for my clients, even my private clients that I consult, big companies. I make their teams celebrate their wins daily. I make them check in on Slack. I make them find the momentum, because tip number 3 is you need to be in momentum. You need to be in momentum. One win creates the next win. One win creates the next win. And how many times as entrepreneurs do we keep moving the finish line, right? We're like, oh, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to write this one email. And then we write the email. I'm like, oh, well, I should have done 3. And then you keep moving the finish line so you can't be in momentum. You are literally choosing to stagnate yourself in place because you won't celebrate the wins. So what we do, and what I did for years and what I watch people do, is they keep moving the finish line, right? It's never enough. It's never enough. It's never enough. I did a whole podcast on this. It's never enough. It is enough. And your job is to celebrate every single bite of the elephant. Your job is to celebrate every single step of the race. If you are running a marathon, my vision would be that every single stride you take, you celebrated that you took another one and you moved one step closer. But you need to be in momentum because one win creates the next. Are we going to lose? Yes. Are we going to miss a shot? Yes. Are we going to get our bank account shut down? Yes. Are we going to get our ad account shut down? Yes. Are we going to lose a customer? Yes. Are they going to be refunds? Yes. Are we going to have an employee quit? Yes. Are we going to lose a big deal? Yes. It's going to happen. But if you celebrate your wins and stay in momentum, it's a speed bump, not a brake check. All too often, people brake check, then they start putting the shit in reverse. And they're like, well, now I'm not going to celebrate my win. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to say everything I'm bad at. It's like you put your car in reverse and you're like, oh, I wonder why I didn't win the race because I'm driving backwards. No, you need to be in momentum. And as you start calling it out publicly, as you start developing a healthy platonic relationship with winning, you start making it easier to find or create the next one. Because here's the secret. The people you look up to, the successful people, the millionaires, the multimillionaires, the centimillionaires, the billionaires, they have the same stuff come up that you do. They have the same marital issues. They have the same parenting issues, the same childhood issues, the same everything. And it was their ability to keep pushing through it, finding the wins and staying in momentum that got them to where they are. That is the secret. I don't care who you are, who you talk to, who you interview. Foundationally, at the bottom of all of it, it's always going to come down to this. And so your job is to be in momentum. Do this day over day, week over week, and it has a compounding effect. If you say you're going to work out every day. If you don't have an hour, do it for 10 minutes. But I'd rather you do it for 10 minutes and do it consistently and keep that word to yourself to be in momentum than not do it at all. And one of my favorite things to do, there are plenty of days, like a couple days ago when I was traveling, I sat in my hotel room and watched TV for probably 10 hours. And I was sad. I was depressed. I was hit with all of it, like all of it. It was a mental battle. It was 10 hours of mental battle. And I used Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. And I was like, all right. It got to a point where I was almost just sick and tired of it. And I was like, all right, what am I going to do? And I was like, what's the easiest thing I can do? What's the thing I can do of my daily practice that takes less than a minute? And I was like, oh, breath work. That's it. And I was like, all right, cool. So I counted from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I shut the TV off and I did 1 minute of breath work. And then I did the minute and I was like, oh, I'll do another one. And I did another one. And I did my breath and I was like, oh, I feel good. I was like, what could I do next? And I was like, I'm going to go for a walk. I literally 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I stood up. I walked out the door. And I just went for a walk. And I was like, I'm literally going to go for a 20-minute walk, right? It was beautiful outside. I ended up walking for 2 hours. I cried. I was thinking. I was reflective. And I got it in. And then that momentum carried me because I just kept going. In the next 2 hours, I accomplished more than I had in a week outside of my daily practice by choosing to be in momentum. And that's really the game. You pick a famous analogy or a quote, right? If you get knocked down 10 times, stand up 11, that's it. Because if you don't get up, you're just choosing to die slowly. And our job here is to play the game, to have an impact, to win. So, number 3 is you have to be in momentum. And number 4, the most important one, is you have to wake up the next day and play a new game. Winning keeps moving. Success keeps moving. Just because you win today doesn't mean you win tomorrow. You don't get a fast pass. You don't get a shortcut. It doesn't come find you. Every day you win, it runs further and further away, and the next day you have to go find it. You have to go find it. Moment to moment, day by day, you have to choose to win. Momentum does not carry over. Momentum is created, and you have to chase the win every single day. When your day ends, you find your wins. You celebrate them. You look back and you reflect. And then the next morning, you make a plan to find and create them again. I don't care that you won yesterday. I don't care that you ate dinner last night because it's not going to feed you tonight. I don't care that you worked out yesterday because that workout doesn't do itself today. Same thing with your marketing, your email, your team leads, your business, your personal life. It doesn't matter. Your job is to win every single day. And when you go to bed, you wake up with a clean slate and you have to climb the mountain again. And that's the game. And if somebody told you that it's different, they lied. Go punch a clock, get a 9 to 5. But every time you hit a new level, because there are levels to the game, the levels get harder. The wins get faster. They run faster away from you. You have to chase them more. The amount of time it takes to win gets greater. The amount of pressure that comes when you miss the win or something happens is exemplified. It's amplified. You have to wake up every day and play a new game. And I watch most people get into the trouble because when they get their win, they expect it to carry them over. They're like, oh, I'll just coast. You watch some of the world's best. They'll win. And they'll celebrate it, but the next day they're back in the gym. They're back on the range. They're back to training. Then you watch other ones. They're like, oh, I win. They go party. They drink. They do whatever, and they lose their next fight. They lose their next match. You have to have a healthy, platonic, non-codependent relationship with winning. You have to choose to pursue your win today. You have to get it, celebrate it, use it to build momentum, and then realize that you hit an erase button when you go to bed, and you have to choose it again tomorrow. And so those are the 4 things that you can do to guarantee your win, to stay in momentum, and to choose to win every single day. And I will say, over the last 3 weeks, I've done all of those with my daily requirements that I require in a mastermind and of my clients every single day. I've lost 17 pounds in the last 8 weeks, and that's a byproduct of what I'm doing. But during this, normally, anytime in my past, I would have gained weight, I would have emotionally eaten, I would have binge eaten, I would have had a bottle of wine every couple of days. I think in the last 3 weeks, I had a glass of wine at dinner. Didn't eat any desserts. I stuck to my macros. I went to the gym. I read. I meditated. And I felt amazing now. I look back now and I'm sad to think about what I would have been sitting in right now had I quit on myself 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago. But instead, I'm here excited and in momentum because I chose my win every single day to create this one, which is being able to talk about it now. And so I want you to win. I want you to choose to win. I want you to find and create wins daily. I want you to celebrate them publicly. I want you to be in momentum, and I want you to wake up the next day and play a new game. And I'm going to challenge you right now. I don't think enough people listen to this fucking podcast. I literally think I have one of the best podcasts in the world. No joke. No joke. I really believe I have one of the best podcasts in the world. Now, I'm sure there's plenty better than me that know more than me, but I feel like from a human level, what I put in, what I give, I have one of the best in the world. And quite frankly, not enough people know about it. So here's what I want you to do, and I'm going to be really selfish. I want you personally to take this on and to go find 10 new people to listen to this podcast and give them a reason to listen to it. Please, please, go find 10 new people. Tell them about the show. Tell them about this episode. Tell them I'm here. Tell people that you love, celebrities, guests, whoever you have. Tell them to come on the show. Tell them to reach out to me. Go put in the work. I'll keep giving you more. I'll help you win more, but that's my ask of you. Now, that's ask one. Ask number two is I want you to DM me on Instagram at least once you listen to this. At least once. I want you to DM me your win. And then I want you to tell me the next one you're going to create. Hey, George, this is how I won today. This is exactly how I'm going to win next. This is how I'm going to win tomorrow, and I want you to DM me. And I also want you to realize that if you listen to this and you don't DM me, you're choosing not to do something that could catapult your success because you have no idea what my response will be, no idea what momentum could come, no idea what possibilities are there, and they won't show up unless you pursue them. And so 2 asks. Find 10 people that can benefit from the show. And don't get them to listen to an episode. Get them to subscribe. Get them to download it. Get them to listen to all of them. And then number 2, send me a DM on Instagram. It's George Bryant on Instagram. Find me. And I want you to tell me your win and tell me how you're going to create the next one. And I want you to realize that if you can't take 10 seconds to send me your win, then you're not ready to win. And I'm okay holding that line. Because most people challenge me on this, and the one thing they thank me for is thanks for making me celebrate daily. Thanks for making me post daily. Thanks for challenging me even though I convinced you or tried to convince you that just saying it in my head was good enough. No. Take a different action right now, no matter where you are on anything. Celebrate your win. Shoot me a DM, and I will see you guys in the next episode. So thanks for listening. I love you. Now it's time to cue the outro. So remember that relationships will always beat algorithms. And I will either see you in the next episode or you will hear me in your earballs. But either way, it's outro time.